I know I mentioned last time in the cliffhanger at the end of the Crusade that it seemed as if the TARDIS had died yet again, but alas, it was just more faulty console components. And I don't know about you, but oh my goodness, the TARDIS has slightly faulty wiring, just doesn't have the same ring to it. Although, not to worry, somehow I get the feeling we're going to be seeing the TARDIS die a lot more in the future. The Space Museum is another 4-part serial from the show's second season way back in 1965, this time seeing the group traverse slipped dimensions, escaping threatening foes and delivering more sci-fi goofiness. It starts out on the right foot with a lot of early intrigue, inexplicably changing clothes, a dead planet, random rewinding time, phasing through objects. Mysterious events were coming thick and fast, and needless to say, I was hooked. Now, after the last couple of stories, I had to remind myself not to expect any logical explanations, or any explanations for that matter. And sure enough, when the first episode ended, it really was the most nonsensical cliffhanger, but in a good way.
They've gone.
Yes, my dear. And we've arrived.
I think what separates this from, say, The Web Planet is, whilst they both present such creatively unfathomable ideas, here they don't spend as much time meandering around, and more importantly, don't highlight the ridiculous idea as much. See, in The Web Planet, there's this whole unexplained thing where gold is somehow important, and they highlight that fact several times without ever making any sense of it. Like Ian's gold pen flies out of his hand, and the Doctor's ring can control the ants. And it's utterly ridiculous, and it just breaks any immersion in the story. Whereas in the Space Museum, there's an equally bizarre idea where it seems like the Doctor and company have sort of slipped out of time and are experiencing a glimpse of their possible future. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and the faulty wiring explanation doesn't add anything, but it's used as an intriguing setup for the adventure to follow. I really hope that made sense. I guess because you have limitless creative potential when working in sci-fi, if you're going to come up with some wild, otherworldly element, don't call attention to it if you can't explain it. Just let it be in service of the story. Now, as for the story, I'll avoid specifics and just say that the TARDIS crew spend a lot of time outmaneuvering their captors and make great efforts in avoiding their potential horrible future. I guess this can be considered one of the earliest examples of the whole changing your history to avoid your fate storyline that we've seen a lot over the years in, say, The Terminator, Back to the Future, and so on. I avoid story spoilers because this is another one I reckon's well worth a watch. It's not one of the greats or anything, but it has a lot going for it. Plenty of action, some really creative use of lighting effects, and probably the best soundtrack in the series so far. And I know it's probably not the nicest thing to say, but being able to sit down and watch a complete story where the actors aren't constantly fumbling over their lines is really refreshing. You could argue that there's a little too much wandering around, but thankfully the 4-part structure keeps things moving along at a good pace. I only wish we could have seen more museum exhibits, but I assume that's budgetary constraints, and what we got was perfectly adequate. Moving along to characters, Vicky gets some good development. She's shown to be more than capable of handling herself, as well as inspiring others to rise up against the challenge they face. Heck, she even sparks a better rebellion than anything seen in the Reign of Terror. In fact, with a Doctorless Episode 3 due to William Hartnell being on holiday, we get to see all 3 companions hold their own. It's really cool to see how they handle challenging situations without the Doctor. Ian, Barbara and Vicky have all grown to become quite competent companions. Ian especially is savage in these episodes, and on the 2 occasions it looks like the Doctor's about to fly off on another one of his classic tantrums, Barbara shuts him down immediately. She ain't taking none of that nonsense anymore. They've both come a long way, and I'm going to be sad to see them go. Of course, we'll be experiencing that next time, but before I sign off, I just wanted to quickly touch on the themes of the Space Museum. They seem to be going for a message of choice, and it's interesting to see they went with the "your choices might not impact you as much as they inspire others," which is good, especially for the time, but I think I prefer the lessons seen in like Back to the Future 3 and heck, even Rick and Morty, where it's like, don't let your future dictate every single decision you make along the way. But at the end of the day, Life's full of choices, so just do your best to make the ones that feel right. Trust me, your future self will thank you for it. Anyway, enough of that mushy stuff. We've got a sweet-ass cliffhanger that promises Daleks in control of a time machine. I'm curious to see how that plays out. Thanks heaps for watching this review. We are halfway through this nifty box set, so next week we'll be taking a look at The Chase. Another Dalek story, eh? Will it be as good as the Dalek invasion of Earth? I doubt it, but we'll see. Catch you guys next time.